The twin suns of Naren IV hung low in the orange sky, bathing the busy alien market in warm light. Strange creatures moved between the stalls, their scales, fur, and feathers shining like jewels. And right in the middle of that chaos sat Eli Marrow, a tired human engineer with oil stains on his sleeves and a small workshop made from an old cargo crate. For months, Eli had survived by fixing whatever junk the locals brought him. Old plasma cutters, wrist translators, mech lenses, even a robot fish once. The aliens called him the Fixer from Earth, half with respect and half with amusement. To them, humans were strange creatures who spoke too fast, slept too little, and never stopped tinkering. Eli didn't mind. He liked it here. The market was noisy, but full of life. And every repair meant a few more credits to buy food, tools, or another month of oxygen filters. But that day, something changed. As he adjusted the light on his workbench, a tall shadow fell over him. He looked up and nearly dropped his wrench. She was unlike anyone he had seen on this planet. Her skin shimmered like liquid silver, her eyes a deep violet glow. A scar ran across her cheek, not ugly, but a mark of a warrior. She wore armor made of bone and crystal, and at her side hung a spear that hummed softly. "My translator," she said, her voice calm but sharp. "It glitched during the hunt." "Fix it," Eli blinked. Sure," he muttered, taking the small round device she held out. It was warm from her touch and faintly pulsing with blue light. A complex model, older than he'd seen before. He could tell at once it wasn't just a translator. It was bonded tech, built to sync with her nervous system. He whistled softly. "You weren't kidding. This thing's fried." The warrior's gaze never left him. "Be careful," she warned. "It's linked to my tribe's honor seals. If you damage it, I will." I got it," Eli interrupted quickly, holding up both hands. "I'll be careful." He opened the device carefully. Inside, tiny circuits and organic threads pulsed faintly like veins. He had seen alien biotech before, but never something this advanced. He replaced a damaged neural chip, rerouted the power node, and connected a stabilizer wire. All while she watched, silent, arms crossed, eyes fixed on his hands. Eli felt sweat running down his back, not from fear, but pressure. It was like fixing a bomb while a goddess judged his every move. Finally, he smiled. There, should be working now. He held up the translator and pressed the reactivation rune. A soft hum filled the air. The light turned from blue to gold. And suddenly, the device spoke in her language. Clear and melodic, but instead of standard activation words, it said something unexpected. "By sacred hands." "Our bond is sealed." The warrior froze. Eli blinked. "UH. That doesn't sound right." The crowd nearby went silent. Every alien in earshot turned their heads toward them. Whispers rippled through the market, low, shocked and awed. Vasha, that was her name. Though Eli didn't know it yet, slowly looked at him, her face pale, her pupils wide. You spoke the binding phrase," she whispered, her voice trembling for the first time. Eli frowned, confused. "Binding what now?" She stepped back, her armor rattling. "The phrase is sacred, only spoken between bonded mates." "Mates?" Eli repeated, blinking. The nearby merchants gasped, and someone shouted, "They are joined. The outsider has claimed her." Before Eli could even react, several armored guards appeared. Surrounding them, one of them, a broad-shouldered alien with red armor. "Bow deeply, Commander Vasha. Your bondmate is summoned to the temple for confirmation." Eli raised his hands, laughing nervously. Wait. This is a misunderstanding. I just fixed a machine." The guard looked at him with cold seriousness. "You have touched what no outsider may touch, and spoken what no outsider may speak, Vasha turned away. Pressing her hands to her temples, her silver hair shimmered under the twin suns. "This cannot be happening," she whispered. "I didn't agree to this. He's a human." Eli tried to speak again, but before he could, Vasha grabbed his arm firmly. Her touch was surprisingly warm. "Come," she said sharply. "We must face the council before this madness spreads." They walked through the stunned market together. Whispers followed them. Some cheered, others laughed. A few even threw petals, it seemed, on this planet. Bonding was cause for celebration. Eli had no idea what he had done. All he knew was that he had fixed a translator, and somehow ended up engaged to a deadly alien warrior. As they approached the glowing temple at the edge of the market, Vasha finally spoke again, her voice low and tight with frustration. "If the elders confirm this bond," she said, "you will not be allowed to leave my side for 3 moons. Eli stopped in his tracks. 3 moons? Her glowing violet eyes met his. "Yes," she said coldly. "Welcome to marriage." Human, the temple of Naren 4 rose high above the dunes. Built from white crystal that caught the twin suns and scattered light like liquid fire. Eli had never seen anything like it. Inside, the air smelled of dust, incense, and something electric. Alien symbols glowed across the walls. Pulsing gently with each heartbeat of the place, he followed Vasha up the long stairs. Still trying to process what had happened. In less than 1 hour, he had gone from freelance tech guy to accidental alien husband, and apparently there was an official council ready to confirm it. At the top stood 3 elders, their skin covered in silver lines that looked like living tattoos. They stared at Eli with deep, unreadable eyes. Behind him, a crowd had gathered. Whispering and pointing, Vasha stood tall, trying to hide her unease. One elder raised a hand. "You human have spoken the ancient vow," he said in a deep voice. "The translator link was sacred, and you reawakened it while in physical contact with our commander." Eli held up his hands quickly. "I didn't mean to. I just fixed it. It glitched. That's literally my job." The elder tilted his head. "Intent does not matter when ancient tech speaks truth," he said. "By bond of voice and touch, you are united." The hall erupted in cheers, and Eli's jaw nearly dropped. Vasha turned sharply, glaring at the elder. "This is absurd," she said. "He is not one of us. He doesn't even know our customs." The elder smiled faintly. "Then teach him, Commander. The bond demands coexistence." Eli blinked. "Wait, what bond?" The elder replied calmly. "You and she must remain together for 3 lunar cycles to confirm harmony or dissolution." 3 lunar cycles? Eli repeated weakly. "That's like 3 months, right?" Vasha sighed deeply, rubbing her temples. "Yes, human. 3 months." The elder raised a ceremonial staff. "Until that time, your spirits are bound," he said. "May the moons witness your unity." And just like that, the floor beneath them glowed. Strands of golden light wrapped around their wrists, warm but not painful. Vasha and Eli exchanged a stunned glance as the glow faded, leaving faint marks like bracelets. The crowd began clapping and singing. It was a celebration. Eli whispered nervously, "Do they always party after a misunderstanding?" Vasha muttered, "In my tribe, a misunderstanding is a marriage." They were led out of the temple to a large open courtyard where musicians played soft wind instruments. Some aliens offered flowers, others bowed. Eli smiled awkwardly at everyone. Vasha walked ahead, expression stiff, her silver armor catching the sunlight. Finally, when they reached a quiet corridor, she stopped and turned to him. "You cannot stay near me," she said, voice low. "This bond will bring chaos." Eli crossed his arms. "Hey, I didn't exactly propose, okay? But I can't just vanish. That elder said we're stuck for 3 months. She glared. You humans never think of the consequences. He raised an eyebrow. And you aliens never label your sacred devices. She paused. Then, to her own surprise, she laughed softly. It was the first time he'd seen her smile later. Guards showed Eli to a guest chamber, though it felt more like a cell. There were strange plants glowing softly and a bed made of smooth stone. He sat down, sighing. What a day, he muttered. He missed Earth. He missed coffee. He missed not being married to someone who could snap him in half. Meanwhile, Vasha met privately with her second-in-command, a blue-skinned warrior named Ral. Commander, Ral said cautiously, the tribe believes this bond is destiny. Destiny? Vasha scoffed. He's a mechanic, Ral nodded. Yes, but the translator has not spoken in generations. It chose him. Vasha frowned. That part haunted her. Why had the translator said those words? And why, when she stood near the human, did the faint pulse of energy between them feel familiar? That night, the tribe celebrated outside with drums and firelight. Eli peeked out from his room, watching the glowing sky. Some children waved at him, shouting, "Bondmate!" And laughing, he waved back awkwardly. Yeah, sure, bondmate, he muttered. Shaking his head, Vasha peered behind him silently. You shouldn't stand near windows, she said. People already think you're proud of this union. Eli turned to face her, smiling faintly. Well, you're the most terrifyingly beautiful woman I've ever accidentally married. She blinked. Startled, then sighed, trying to hide the small smile tugging at her lips. You talk too much, she said. And you brood too much, he replied. For a moment, their eyes met, not with anger, but something softer. Then a loud horn echoed through the courtyard. A messenger ran in shouting, Commander, a rival clan challenges your bond. They demand a heart trial at dawn. Vasha's eyes narrowed. Eli blinked. Heart trial? What's that, like marriage counseling? She looked at him seriously. No, human, she said. It's combat to the death. Eli stared at her. His heart skipped. Oh, perfect, he muttered under his breath. I can't even survive a date without dying here. Outside. The drums continued. The alien tribe danced beneath the twin moons, celebrating the strangest marriage in their history. And somewhere deep inside her armor, Vasha's heart beat in rhythm with the confused humans. The twin moons of Niran 4 hung bright in the sky as dawn broke over the desert. The air shimmered with golden dust, and the temple bells echoed far across the dunes. Eli stood in the courtyard, feeling like someone who had accidentally joined a movie he didn't audition for. Around him, hundreds of aliens gathered to watch the heart trial, a sacred duel to test whether a bond was blessed or false. He swallowed hard, staring at the massive warrior across the arena. The challenger was twice his size, wearing red battle armor and holding a glowing spear. The alien's name was Rurik, leader of a rival clan. He sneered at Eli, his voice rumbling. This human stole what was promised to me. Eli raised a hand nervously. Hey, man, I didn't steal anyone. I just fixed a translator, the crowd murmured. Not understanding his sarcasm, beside him stood Vasha, her silver armor gleaming in the light. She looked calm, too calm, and that scared him more than the crowd. Do I really have to fight him? Eli whispered. Vasha nodded slightly. It is our law, she said. But do not worry. You may yield before death. Before death? Great, comforting, he muttered, taking a deep breath. Vasha handed him a small metallic rod. This is a training spear, she explained. It won't kill unless you activate it. Eli stared at the weapon, confused. Can it turn into a pillow instead? She sighed, shaking her head. Just try not to die. Human, the drums started. Rorak charged forward like a storm, his spear glowing bright. Eli barely dodged, stumbling backward, sand spraying under his boots. The crowd roared as the two circled each other. Vasha watched, her hands clenched tightly at her sides. Eli wasn't a fighter. Back on Earth, he was just a mechanic who fixed air purifiers and robots. But as Rorak attacked again, Eli noticed something. The alien's spear pulsed, the same pulse that came from his own wrist mark. The bond mark glowing faintly under his sleeve. He realized the link between him and Vasha was reacting. When he focused, he could feel her calm, her timing, her instincts. For a moment, their minds brushed together like static, and then, without thinking, Eli moved. He sidestepped Rorak's thrust and used his spear to block, perfectly in rhythm with Vasha's unspoken guidance. The crowd gasped. Eli didn't understand how. But he moved faster, smarter. Each motion felt like someone whispering directions in his head. Vasha's voice, quiet but steady, echoing in his mind. Left, now pivot. Strike low, he followed. The next moment, Rorak's weapon went flying, crashing into the sand. Eli stood there, panting. While the crowd went silent, even Rorak froze. Staring at the human in disbelief, Eli lowered his spear. "I don't want to hurt you," he said, voice trembling but firm. "I just want to go home without getting married or murdered," Rorak growled. Lunged again. But this time Eli twisted aside. He hit the ground switch Vasha had shown him earlier. A trap mechanism under the arena stones released a shockwave. Sand exploded upward, throwing Rorak back 10 feet. The audience erupted in cheers. The human had won the heart trial. Drums thundered, banners waved, and the elder's voice boomed from above. "The bond is proven true by heart, by courage, and by harmony." Eli blinked. Confused. "Wait, what? I won?" Before he could celebrate, Vasha stepped forward and placed her hand on his chest. Her violet eyes glowed faintly. "The bond has accepted you," she whispered. "You fought with my spirit beside yours." He looked at her, breathless. "Yeah, I felt that, like we were connected," she nodded slowly. "The translator link may have merged with our life energy." He frowned. "So, you're saying I'm literally linked to you?" "Yes," she said simply. "And now, the tribe will never allow you to leave." The realization hit him hard. He had survived a duel, only to be trapped even deeper. The crowd began chanting both their names. "Vasha!" Eli, Vasha. Eli, Rorak, bruised but alive, stood and bowed. "Your bond is strong." "Human," he said grudgingly. "You have earned her, and our respect." Eli scratched the back of his neck awkwardly. "Thanks, I guess." That night, the tribe threw another celebration. Fires burned bright. Drums echoed into the desert. Eli sat beside Vasha, both wrapped in ceremonial cloaks. Children played nearby, pretending to duel with sticks. Vasha glanced at him quietly. "You surprised me," she said. "Yeah. I surprised myself too," he replied. Smiling tiredly for a moment, there was peace, but deep inside. Both could feel the strange hum in their minds, that invisible bond linking their emotions. Eli's thoughts brushed against hers. A flicker of warmth, curiosity, and fear. Vasha looked away. Pretending not to notice, neither spoke of it. But both felt it growing stronger. As the night grew colder, Eli looked up at the moons. "What now?" he asked softly. Vasha stared at the sky, her voice low. "Now, human, you learn what it means to share a soul." The wind carried their words across the dunes. And though Eli didn't yet understand it, that night marked the moment their hearts truly began to beat as one. The sun rose again over the golden dunes of Naren 4. Eli woke to the soft hum of alien birds and the faint vibration in his wrist. That glow again, the golden mark that bound him to Vasha. It pulsed every few seconds, in rhythm with his heartbeat. And strangely, in rhythm with hers, he tried to ignore it. But every time she entered the room, the pulse grew stronger. It was like the air itself reacted to her presence. The bond between them was alive, invisible yet powerful. And it was starting to scare him for the next few days. The tribe treated them like heroes. Children followed Eli around, calling him the clever bondmate. Merchants gave him food and tools for free. Even the warriors bowed when he asked, but inside he felt trapped. Every time he tried to explain to someone that this was all a mistake, they just smiled and said, "Love chooses its own." Meanwhile, Vasha tried to act normal. She trained daily with her soldiers, commanded her scouts, and ignored the constant stares. But every night, when she sat alone in her quarters, she could feel Eli's emotions flicker inside her chest. Confusion, worry, a hint of humor. The bond wasn't only emotional now. It was telepathic. One evening, Eli was repairing a plasma lantern when he accidentally burned his hand. He winced, and across the camp, Vasha suddenly gasped and dropped her cup. Feeling a sting on her palm, they looked at each other from a distance, both realizing what had happened later. She came to his workshop quietly. "You felt that too, didn't you?" he asked. Vasha nodded slowly. "Our energy threads are merged," she said softly. "What touches you touches me," Eli sighed. Sitting down, "Great. Now I can't even stub my toe without giving you a heart attack." She almost smiled. "Perhaps this is punishment for both of us," she said, her tone half serious, half teasing. Over the next week, they tried to study the link. Eli used his tools and scanners, while Vasha meditated using ancient techniques. Through the connection, they began to understand each other more deeply. He saw flashes of her memories, the pressure of command, the loss of her mentor, the loneliness of leadership. She saw glimpses of his world, Earth's crowded cities, his small apartment, the rain he missed so much. They were two souls from different worlds, forced to share one rhythm, but not everyone was happy about it. A council of rival elders feared that the human bond would disrupt their traditions. They whispered that Eli was a spy, that he had used forbidden tech to control Vasha. Soon, rumors spread like fire, and one night, a group of masked warriors attacked their quarters. Eli woke to the sound of energy blades clashing. Vasha fought like lightning, her spear glowing blue. He grabbed a metal rod and ducked as sparks filled the air. But just when a blade aimed for his chest, the bond flared bright. Vasha's mark glowed, and a shield of golden light burst around him. The attackers were thrown back, screaming. Then they vanished into the shadows. Eli stood trembling. "What was that?" he asked. Vasha looked at him, eyes wide. "The bond protected you," she said slowly. "Our life forces defended themselves. The next morning, the High Council summoned them. The bond has become too strong," the elder warned. "If you separate now, both hearts will stop." Eli blinked. "Wait, stop, as in die?" The elder nodded. "You are one pulse, one breath, one destiny." Silence filled the chamber. Eli looked at Vasha. She didn't move, didn't speak. Her jaw tightened, but her eyes were softer than before. It wasn't anger anymore. It was fear. That night, sitting under the moons, Eli whispered, "So if I go back to Earth, you die. And if you stay," she said quietly, "you lose your home." He smiled faintly. Story of my life. For a long time, they sat in silence. The bond hummed between them like a quiet heartbeat. And then Vasha said something she'd never said before. "When the translator spoke that day, I thought it cursed me," she said. "But maybe it just translated what fate already decided." Eli looked at her. Surprised, "Are you saying this was meant to happen?" She turned her gaze to the stars. Maybe not meant, but chosen. Suddenly, the temple alarms blared. Flames shot up from the dunes, and the sky filled with enemy ships. Rorak's warning came true. The warlord of Varnix, conqueror of systems, had arrived. The tribe scrambled to prepare defenses. And the elders rushed to Vasha and Eli, shouting, "The invaders seek the bond. They want its power." Eli clenched his fists. "They can't have it," he said. Vasha nodded, eyes fierce. "Then we fight together." They ran to the central citadel, where the ancient defense relics lay dormant. A giant sphere of crystal pulsed faintly inside the chamber. The elder shouted, "Only those bound by spirit can awaken it?" Vasha grabbed Eli's hand. Their marks glowed bright, gold and violet intertwining. Energy flowed through them, merging their thoughts completely. For the first time, Eli didn't just hear her. He was her fear, her courage, her heartbeat, all mixing with his own. The relic began to awaken. Light flooded the temple, and the ground trembled. Outside, enemy ships darkened the sky. Inside, one human and one alien stood at the heart of a storm, bound not by accident anymore, but by choice. The air inside the citadel shimmered with light. Eli and Vasha stood hand in hand at the center of the great crystal chamber. Around them, the elders chanted words that had not been spoken for centuries. Outside, thunder rolled as the warlord's fleet darkened the sky. The ancient defense relic began to awaken. Rings of golden energy circled the room, feeding on the pulse of their bond. Eli felt warmth surge through his veins. He could hear Vasha's heartbeat inside his mind. Steady and grave, their voices merged. Their thoughts became one. "Eli," she whispered through the bond, "if this fails, we die together." He smiled faintly. "Yeah, but we go out as legends." The relic responded to their unity. Glowing brighter, streams of light shot upward, striking the sky and forming a protective dome over the city. The first wave of enemy ships fired plasma rounds, but the energy field absorbed them like ripples on water. Then, from the dunes, the warlord himself descended, a massive creature of metal and flesh. Eyes burning red, he roared, "Give me the bond or I burn this world." Eli stepped forward, voice calm. "You'll have to go through both of us." Vasha's spear ignited with blue fire. The crowd of warriors gathered behind them, chanting her name. For the first time, humans and aliens stood together as one tribe. The warlord unleashed a wave of dark energy. Eli felt his knees weaken, but Vasha's strength poured into him through the bond. Her voice echoed in his mind. "Stand with me, human." He gritted his teeth and raised his hand toward the relic. The golden aura flared outward like a storm. The explosion of light shook the entire desert. When the brightness faded, the sky was clear again. The fleet was gone, scattered into dust. The relic dimmed slowly, its purpose fulfilled, and the bond between them settled into a calm rhythm. Steady and alive, the tribe erupted in cheers. Eli and Vasha stood side by side, glowing faintly under the rising suns. The elder approached, bowing deeply. "Your union has saved us all," he said. "You are now guardians of the bond." Eli scratched his neck awkwardly, smiling. "Guardians, huh? I was just trying to fix a translator." Vasha looked at him, her expression softer than ever. "Maybe you fixed more than that," she said. "Maybe you fixed what my people lost, hope, days later." Peace returned to Naren 4. The tribe rebuilt their homes, and the markets filled again with laughter and light. Eli helped restore old machines, teaching alien children how to use human tools. He had become part of their world without even realizing it. One night, Under the twin moons, Vasha found him sitting by the fire. He stared at the stars quietly. "Thinking of Earth?" she asked. He nodded. "Sometimes, yeah. But Earth never had skies like this." She sat beside him, the fire reflecting in her silver eyes. "You could stay," she said softly. He looked at her, half smiling. "I thought I already did, for a while." Neither spoke. The bond between them pulsed gently. No longer strange or frightening. It was warm, familiar, like breathing together. He reached out, brushing her hand lightly. "Funny," he said. "I came here to fix machines. But I ended up fixing someone's heart." She laughed quietly. "And I ended up finding mine in the hands of a human." As dawn broke, the tribe gathered for the final ceremony. The elder raised his staff and spoke. "Let the stars bear witness. The bond that began by accident has become the harmony of two worlds." Eli and Vasha bowed before the crowd. Cheers and music filled the air. Later, as the twin suns rose higher, Eli recorded a message for Earth. "This is Engineer Eli Marrow of the Naren Expedition," he said into the recorder. "Status report. Alive, accidentally married. Probably never coming back." He chuckled softly. "But I think I'm okay with that." He turned off the recorder and looked at Vasha. She stood waiting at the edge of the dunes. Her silver hair glowing in the light, he walked toward her, every step echoing like a heartbeat through the sand. When he reached her, she took his hand and whispered, "In my language." "The word for bond means choice." Eli smiled. "Then I choose you," he said. She leaned closer, their marks glowing one final time, the light wrapped around them like a halo. Above them, the relic shimmered faintly, as if blessing the moment, and as the suns rose over the endless desert, the last human on Naren 4 and the warrior who once called him a mistake stood together, not by accident anymore, but by choice. Narrator's closing line for voiceover. Sometimes love doesn't need translation. It just needs courage to listen.